Never a doubt, never lost faith, always believe. That's what Vikings fans saying tonight. The Vikings hold on. J.J. McCarthy's debut, 27-24 in Soldier. We're breaking it all down next on the Viking Squad Show. But first, let's meet tonight's crew.
Sam Ekstrom. Jordan Mason might be RB1. Aaron Jones might be wide receiver 3.
Ron Johnson, former Gopher and NFL wide receiver. Josh Allen, I'll see your comeback and raise you a J.J. McCarthy.
And I'm Luke Braun of Locked On Vikings. Everybody needs to know Thor was right.
Skol! It's the Viking Squad. Everything Minnesota Vikings every week. Breaking down all the big hits and game-changing plays from the land of 10,000 lakes. The way only the Locked On Podcast Network can. It's time to gear up. The Viking Squad Show starts now.
What's going on? Back in the lab, back at it. Another Viking Squad Show. Immediately after the Vikings Week 1 win on Monday Night Football in Soldier Field. All the instant action you can handle the next 60 minutes, including we got J.J. McCarthy's gutsy debut. Brian Flores' defense playing a little chess against Ben Johnson and the Bears. Biggest splash games, biggest plays of the game, biggest turning point, our game MVP. It's all happening right here on the Locked On Sports Minnesota Network, your team every day. Remember, if you want to listen, you can always find this show on audio right under the Locked On Sports Minnesota podcast feed and on video, of course, up on the Locked On Sports Minnesota YouTube channel. Make sure to like and subscribe. Keep up with all the action. Before we get into it, quick reminder, guys, tonight's episode brought to us by Game Time. Game Time, download that Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. All right, Ron Batten lead off tonight. I'm dubbing him the Minnesota Prince, J.J. McCarthy. Obviously a tough test for anybody in Soldier on primetime, let alone you're making your first NFL start. A porous start for the offense in the first half, but 3 straight TD drives to end this thing, led by JJ and company, including that 14-yard scamper to seal it at the end. How encouraged, Ron, are you walking away from this one? And I guess, what really stuck out, I guess, for good or bad in JJ's first professional start?
Yeah, I mean, the first half felt like if J.J. McCarthy had played a little bit more preseason, maybe it wouldn't have started off so bad. So, honestly, like I looked at the first drive, the very first drive when he checked out of it a couple of times. It just felt like he was a little bit rushed, felt like the game was moving a little bit too fast for him. I will say the Bears defense drew up a great looking defensive start. They started out well, and then it got real vanilla towards the end. But towards the end, so I tweeted this at halftime. I said, you got to find an offense that fits J.J. McCarthy. What did he do at Michigan? A lot of play action, a lot of rolling out, a lot of getting him out the pocket, running the ball, and then let the kid run every once in a while. And so they did exactly that in the second half, and I think that was the big one. And then for the scramble when he got the first down and then also the touchdown, that's something that Kirk Cousins wouldn't have done. That's something that Sam Darnold wouldn't have done. That's something Carson Wentz would have done it earlier in his career. But everybody was saying, bring in another quarterback. Why do we let Sam Darnold go? That's why. 143 yards, not great. 92 passer rating, not great. But the pick six, I kind of blame that on Kevin O'Connell a little bit. Like the play call for that coverage, it literally fit what the Bears wanted to do. And J.J. McCarthy, I don't think was prepared to understand. Butt to the sideline, they're running some type of sit because he's not going to put his butt to the sideline if he's playing true man. He was basically just playing out in that zone, and they had a deep safety if you wanted to run by. If they ran by that guy, the former Vikings, Nashawn Wright? If he had just run by him and threw it in the zone hole, he'd have been wide open on the sideline. But, the play was for an out route. It just wrong play, right defense, bad throw. Hey, but he got his pick six out the way early. I think everybody knew the pick six was coming at some point.
You got to throw that one.
You got it out the way early.
That exact pick six. I think, correct me if I'm wrong here, Ron, he checked into that, right? I think he saw the blitz and changed something.
He did something. He
did something.
He said something. I don't know if he changed the protection, or I don't know if he changed the play, but he did do something.
Yeah.
Because Peyton Manning was even talking about that. Peyton Manning said on the Manning cast, I don't know if you guys saw that Eli was like, yeah, the Bears in the first half, man, they're calling the great defense. And Peyton was like, I would have thought that was man coverage. Like it literally did look like it because of how many guys.
Yeah, it looked like it was zero.
and they're finding ways to drop back last minute. They're finding ways to switch. And so, and honestly, I sat on this tweet, and I'm glad I didn't tweet it, because I was like, I felt like Brian Flores and Ben Johnson was about to be another one of those, just, I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna kill you slowly. And Flores made just enough plays to keep his defense, off the field and let the offense go. But unfortunately, you lose Blake Cashman. It was one of those days where just I was glad other guys didn't get hurt, and then now one of you guys said before we started that maybe Okuda's out. So
yeah.
It's a thin room already, and then that happens. Can we get Nahshon Wright back? I know he got hurt too, though. I don't even know if he's going to be back.
He came back. He was fine. He just needed a little massage gun, but I think that pick six is such a key moment, because it's such a welcome to the NFL moment, right? Where it's far hash out route, cornerbacks jumping it. You think in the Big Ten, you used to be able to hum that thing every single time, and that corner would never make the play. Now they make the play. Now you got to adjust that. But I think it also, kind of shakes you out of your pregame jitters. You go, and you get a different emotion. And now it's just, okay, I got to shake everything off, totally reset my mind, and go play. And I feel like that's kind of what happened, that he used the pick six as kind of a mental jumping off point to figure out how to just get into a rhythm and go play the sport he knows how to play. And not long after that, we're rattling off touchdown drive after touchdown drive after touchdown drive.
Yeah, he was used to hitting Roman Wilson with Michigan on that little out route all day for about 2 years there. Sam, the threading the needle to JJ. That finally got him on the board, shook some jitters off, said, okay, I can do this. Aaron Jones wheel route down the sideline, and then to Ron's point, that 14-yard scamper. The way he finished it, though, John Elway-esque. But before that, the first half, just some simple, mundane stuff, right? I don't know if it was the plays were getting in slow, but a lot of maybe miscommunication with Ryan Kelly at the line of scrimmage. That play clock kept tripping down, and just a lot of frustration watching that offense in the first half. A lot of highs at the end, a lot of lows to start with. What were your biggest takeaways?
Yeah, training wheels were on in the first half, and I think the jitters were in play. I mean, I truly am willing to give a 22-year-old kid one half to feel all the feels of being in the NFL, being in the stadium where he cheered for the Bears growing up. Everyone's eyeballs are on you, hostile environment, having to, navigate the noise, navigate the blitzes in your first half of one game. So I'll give him that. The first half was rough. Got a little happy feet on third down. They didn't draw up too much for him, but I thought the throw right before halftime might have been a little bit of a turning point.
Yeah.
That gave him, got 3 free points there at the end. Some weirdness with the ball getting spotted and some clock management, but then the pick six happens.
Horrible spot.
Well, I think they gave him 5 extra yards, and then they moved it after the Vikings had basically sent the field goal team out, which was a.
Were you scratching your head saying, wait, we got 11 seconds on the clock? We're not going to try to move this a la Mike Zimmer week 2 in Arizona here. Greg Joseph goes wide 38 yards. Can't we just get the extra 2-3 yards? Why not? Kind of thing. Or were you content with that, Sam?
No, I was puzzled by KOC's thinking there. 11 seconds, you could probably get 2 sideline plays, to be honest with you. In fact, you could even run 1 quick play over the middle and spike it and still get yards. But so the first half was just atrocious for a lot of people, right? But ball getting through JJ's hands on a third down.
Yeah,
I thought
that was
McCarthy could have had an 80% completion game if players had hung on to the ball. So let's point that out as well. Really, the most egregious thing he did was the pick six. Beyond that, I thought ball placement was actually pretty good on the whole for this game. Couple times where he was very close to breaking through the pocket and running for a first down, and then just got tripped up by the shoelaces. I thought the pocket was spotty at times, but the running game turned out to be his best friend in this one, and that's exactly what we envisioned when they rebuilt this team's mentality to be a lot more physical in the offseason. It got better as the game went on. Bears wore down, and that gave JJ a lot of confidence.
Spotty, though, I don't know if I would use the word spotty. It was pretty horrible to start. And
School
honestly,
wasn't good.
That's what I was going to say. The left tackle was getting put on skates. I mean, it looked
Walter
like
Rouse,
he was over. He was hey, why not? I hope Darisaw's back though, but he was overreaching. Like you could see even the one that they zoomed in where it was kind of like the defensive line is taught to grab the wrist of the offensive lineman. And what the offensive lineman is supposed to do is chop and then reset. And he just basically let the guy throw his arms and he fell forward. And so it was a lot of like just didn't know what to do. You've seen Darisaw re-anchor, as they call it, a bunch, and school just doesn't have it. So I think Kevin O'Connell figured that out. And that's why you saw a lot of rollouts, you saw a lot of play action, and you saw them running the ball. Like Jordan Mason, thank goodness they traded for him. That might have been the best move Kwesi ever made this offseason because, I mean, he was a lifesaver in that second half.
Biggest plays of the game, biggest turning points. It's going to be easy tomorrow morning. Look at the box score, see the 3 fourth-quarter touchdowns. But, Sam, you brought it up. You win by 3 points. It's hard not to go back and circle around to that Jalen Naylor catch there at the end. Granted, yes, Ron, bad spot, but they figured it out. Got that 3 points. Biggest turning point or biggest, maybe splash plays in the game. Anything stick out to you guys on the forefront of your mind?
Holding call on the Bears that took them from being in the red zone up 17-6 with a minute left in the third quarter. And that started the chain of events. It went from there. It went intentional grounding, missed field goal. Vikings have a quick that was it. Vikings were rolling at that point. Vikings 9.9 yards per play on the 3 touchdown drives. Like they were a freight train. And it all seemed to start with just, a little momentum with the Bears kind of moving backward there, missing the field goal. Felt like you saved 3 points and you were right in the game.
I'd say the one for me is the intentional grounding where he went Patrick Mahomes and leveled to the ground. That just felt like, here we go again, because early in the game, he felt like Jared Goff. Like it felt like Ben Johnson had controlled the horse and said, look, run when you have to run, throw when you need to throw it. And then that play, it felt like the old Caleb Williams came back out, holding the ball way too long, hoping to make a play. And then also the other one, the Javon Hargrave gift sack, because instead of him just throwing the ball away earlier, he takes one extra little steps on the white line, and that's a Javon Hargrave second sack. So by the way, on the pregame show today, we do sink or sail. I was 0 for 4 because I was so optimistic about no interception. I said that the sacks were going to come from current players, not a new player. Javon Hargrave made me Adam Thielen would catch 4 passes. He got 1 target. And then he did catch the 2-point conversion. And then what was the other one I had? I forgot one other one, but all mine were bad. It was, that Jordan Mason would lead every running back for yards. I'm like, there's no way. I'm like, with Swift, with Aaron Jones, I'm like, Mason led all rushers. By the way,
Caleb Williams led the Bears.
The 2-point conversion doesn't actually count as a catch for Adam Thielen.
Right.
No, right.
Yep.
His over-under was 3.5. Yes. I know that very well.
I've been frustrated by this on Prize Picks a lot. Yes, I'm very familiar with that rule.
I was looking, I'm like, wait, how's he still 1 target, 0 catches? I'm like, and I'm like, oh yeah, 2-point conversion.
Whatever you did, Ron, it worked. Vikings start 1-0. JJ McCarthy 1-0 in his career in his debut. How about the Ty Chandler taking that kick out right at the end?
That was going to be my answer.
The chat is all over
Look at the sideline, and oh god, that was so awesome.
Ben Johnson with a complete bungling of the clock there. How do you not tell the kicker to kick it out of bounds unless they were 100% sure it gets through the end zone? You got to kick that out of bounds. Think of the difference. The difference there is if it's on the other side of the 2 minute. The Bears get the ball back with a minute 10 to go. That
would have been, I think, 49. They had 9 seconds when they got the ball back. So if you give them another clock stoppage, you get 49 seconds. That's a totally different ball game.
Play it like this, Bron. So 2:02, you run the first down play, 2-minute warning.
Yep.
Second down play, timeout. So 1:55-ish. Third down play, you run it down to 1:15 and punt. Right? It's more than 4. It's like it's easily a minute. The Bears, and we're splitting hairs here.
Yeah, but still,
significant mistake by Ben Johnson, who I thought, a couple good things happened early for the Bears, and people were like patting Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson on the back. To be honest, I didn't think it was a really sustainable performance at all in the first half. It was a lot of scrambling. He was looking around and extending plays to find running backs. But how many throws did you really have in rhythm in this game? Had a couple nice ones. I didn't think it was like a magnanimous, like totally rejuvenated Caleb Williams out there.
Lots more to get into. In fact, actually, we got a couple minutes before we skip to segment 2. How about let's unveil our game MVP? Now, obvious, probably usually
actually,
this goes to
Luke.
JJ. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, I just saw something before we move on from the kickoff thing.
Yeah.
Sam Schwartzstein, who designed the dynamic kickoff, said that there's apparently another bug in the rule that is not accounted for in the way that it is designed, that technically Cairo Santos could have kicked 2 inches in front of him. It would have been a legal procedure penalty. It would have given the Vikings excellent field position and taken no time off the clock.
Interesting. Okay. All right. A little loophole there. Okay. I like that. Game MVP. JJ McCarthy, obviously going to be easy. You always typically crown the quarterback anyways. But Ron, any wild cards, sneaky wild cards for the Vikings game MVP tonight?
Oh man, sneaky wild cards. I mean, I gotta go with the running game of Jordan Mason.
Sure.
Like I think that Aaron Jones early on, everybody was like, damn, like they can't run the ball. But Jordan Mason had a couple big runs where the 19-yarder is the first one that jumps off to me. But it seemed like he was gonna be. I mean, and Sam's right. I think whoever said in the open, like he might be RB1 right now. Like I think he is. I think you have to go into this next game against the Falcons with Mason's going to probably get 20 carries, and Aaron Jones technically, should be in the slot a little bit. Like especially if you don't have Jordan Addison. I hope Adam Thielen. This was just first game jitters back. JJ McCarthy. Still trying to figure out him and Justin Jefferson because they didn't get any time during training camp. So I think all of that was just a big ball of like, what is this team going to be? The good thing is, you walked away with a win where I feel like at halftime, a lot of people probably went to bed. Like a lot of people probably were pissed off and was like, this team sucks. I'm moving on. Like the Packers are going to win the division again. No, not so fast, my friend. This might be the Lions. And we had Diana Rossini on, which is funny, Sam. Now looking at this, she said the Lions would probably be in the basement. And everybody on Twitter was calling her a dummy and women shouldn't be, stay in the kitchen. Hey, she might be right. The Lions, and not like in the basement, like 2 wins, but maybe 9 wins is going to be the basement for the NFC North, and that could be the Lions.
I'll tell you what, speaking of game MVP, going into the 4th quarter before they went on that awesome run led by JJ, I think my game MVP was going to be Miles Price. But it was between Price or Will Reichert. Like, that's just how lackluster the offense was. Defense really got rolling, granted, in the second. I mean, the Bears, you think about the defense, and we'll talk about it in the next segment a little bit more, but, they score on their opening drive, long opening drive. And then they scored 3 points up until the very end. I mean, we'll look at it a little bit more in segment 2, but that defense really clamped down. But as far as game MVP, again, Miles Price, he kind of passed the eye test. Will Reichert drilling that last second field goal before second half. Go ahead.
Can I throw out a real under the radar one that nobody's talking about, but I think they're going to see it on tape? Jalen Redmond. Lived in the backfield. In the backfield. I don't know if he ever shows up on the actual stat sheet because it was always there was one where Dallas Turner got there first, or where a blitzer got there first, or it was someone else's pressure or sack. The one sack, Javon Hargrave. He gets there first. Jalen Redmond was right there too. I think he was incredibly disruptive, and that just got to Caleb. It wasn't even that it hurried things and it ruined spacing or timing or whatever. He was rattled. He was sailing them. That's how you can tell a QB is really shaking it. Like when they start going a little high and they start going, throwing everything a little too far because he's a little too turned up because he feels like he's rushing his process because he's under so much pressure. I don't know if I can say MVP over somebody like Hargrave, who had the sack, or like JJ McCarthy himself, who's definitely who I would give it to for real, but I did want to shout him out.
I do want to say one thing though. Sure. The one thing I will say that I didn't even realize, and it doesn't feel this way, but JJ McCarthy, statistically, you take the yards out of it, actually outplayed Caleb Williams in the whole game. Like it doesn't feel like 65% to 60%, 98, almost 100 passer rating to 86. Like it doesn't feel that way. It felt like Caleb Williams was running away with the show because of all his runs, but actual true passes, like he regressed as the game went on. He started coming back to the Caleb that everybody knows that, can he stop doing this stuff because the NFL players are faster? And I mean, honestly, like he hurt Blake Cashman. Like, I don't know if it's the hamstring or what. He pulled something because he was over there like, but I will say Caleb Williams regressed in that passing stuff, like Ben Johnson. And you could see Ben Johnson was visibly frustrated. Like every time he did something like that, the camera would cut to him and he had that look like, dude, just throw the ball. Like you can see there's still some turmoil there.
How many did Caleb complete in a row to start this game? I stopped keeping track.
9 or 10.
Okay,
10.
It was a lot.
It was at
10
least
for
10.
10 and then like 6 incompletions after that.
Well, all right, let's do some quick math. 10 for 10. After that point, 11 for 25. Obviously, don't have the yardage and all
And
that.
I think
But
they got their first 3 third downs, and then they went like 0 for 6 after that or something like that.
Yeah. Flores just needed a minute to feel it out. The streak is broken. No more Ben Johnson losses.
Go ahead, Ron.
No, I think I think that's the big one, Luke. You're right. Like everybody just said Ben Johnson, Brian Flores could not handle him. And I think he did tonight. He figured it out. Like he finally figured it out. Like I don't need to blitz 7 guys every time. Like I can go 4 to 5, and then let's see if this kid can throw the ball. And again, I go back to Javon Hargrave and him and Allen. Like they didn't always get there. But in Jalen Redmond, like I'm just glad these refs let them play a little bit because Redmond a couple times threw the guy down.
Oh, yeah.
And
was awesome.
I was like, oh, that's going to be a flag. And the refs kind of like let them play. They're like, look, this is an NFC North rivalry game. Like, we're not going to call these tic-tac little throwdowns and punch. Like, even 24 pushed the guy after the punt. And I'm like, dude, you're right in front of the ref. But
Yeah.
the ref didn't say anything. He let him. He's like, hey, just walk away. So I was glad the refs didn't try to become the stars of this game.
Bears racked up 127 penalty yards by the end. It was kind of a slow burn, but they did.
It got sloppy at the end for sure. A good segue. Lots more to get into, including Ben Johnson versus Brian Flores. That rematch. That's all coming up right after this. Quick reminder, tonight's episode brought to us by Prize Picks. Prize Picks, America's #1 fantasy sports app, now with more than 10 million members to date. For me, my money, it's by far the easiest, most exciting way to get in on all the action while you watch your favorite sports and you watch your favorite players. So simple. All you got to do, you pick more or less on 2 or more players, and you watch the winnings roll in. Football season is officially back. Anytime touchdowns, receptions, tackles, sacks, you name it, they got it. Take your pick on more or less. Add them to your Prize Picks entry today. Thursday night football coming up in just 3 nights. Commanders taking on the Packers in Lambeau. Always love me some Jaden Daniels over rushing yards. Current props sitting at 38.5. Don't forget as well, Prize Picks now offers Apple Pay, quick and easy deposits into your account all season long. Right now, download the Prize Picks app. Use code LOCKEDONNFL for $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. That's win or lose on any $5 lineup. You're getting $50 instantly with promo code LOCKEDONNFL. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. This episode also brought to you by Upside. Hey, Vikes fans, you still paying full price for gas? It's time to get real. Cash back every time you fill up with the free Upside app. So easy. All you got to do, download the free Upside app in the App Store or Google Play. Start earning cash at the pump today. Use my limited time promo code FOOTBALL. You're getting an extra 25 cents back per gallon on your first fill up. You can make up to $300 a year just from buying the gas you already need. Not going to lie, at first, thought it was too good to be true, but it's legit. Real people were getting paid just to make their daily commutes, and now you can too. Plus, you can cash out to your bank account, PayPal, Amazon, and other brands anytime. Don't let this offer drive on by. Download the free Upside app now using my limited time promo code FOOTBALL for a limited 25 cent per gallon bonus. That's promo code FOOTBALL. Offers vary by user and location. Go to upside.com for terms and conditions. All right, let's get into a little bit more defense. Kind of teased it. Jalen Redmond's kind of sticking out there for sure. Maybe you're not going to see him in the box score tomorrow morning. I mean, on the squad show, I said one of my keys to the game was going to be the interior offensive line, but the interior, the defensive line, and just looking at the kind of different rotations, I'm very curious to see the snap counts tomorrow morning as well. We knew they had that 5-6 man rotation going on, but Ron, the last 3 Flores versus Ben Johnson kind of matches. Flores went to bed with terrors, it felt like. Now he goes to Chicago, a different scene, different quarterback, plus no Harrison Smith as well. We haven't touched on that. So you got Theo Jackson and Josh Metellus in the back end. How did you think Flores kind of created that unique Brian Flores pressure and tried to, I guess, force Caleb Williams into some turnover-worthy throws?
I don't know if Flores forced him into it or he just eventually just starts saying YOLO.
Maybe that was the deal. Like, hey, he'll do it eventually if we just get his head enough.
I think for Flores, like, I get it now. Like, some of the stuff, and I know Luke's a big film guy too. When you watch some of the, like, at the line of scrimmage and then they switch right away, or the defense lines up and then they switch right before he snaps the ball. I get it. It's to put stuff on tape so other teams have to account for it and worry about it. And when you do it, what are you really getting to? It still frustrates me though, because I feel like when he does it, guys, the corner routes are wide open or the seam routes are wide open. The middle of the field is wide open. Thank goodness Caleb Williams just didn't see it half the time. Because I think on the broadcast they even brought it up. They're like, "Oh, if he had not been looking at the flat, he would have had him up the seam. Oh, he'd have had him down deep. He'd have had the corner route," like they kept saying, or he's late to the corner, and then he has a chance to get it broken up. So I will say though, Flores is a guy that's going to stick to his guns. Like he stuck to his guns. He did make Caleb Williams kind of overthink a couple. You can even see some of the wide open ones. He overthrew it or threw it short, and you like Caleb Williams like, "Dang, I had that one." So I like, even though I personally don't love it, it worked. Early on though, it felt like Ben Johnson kind of knew it was coming, and then eventually, I think Flores just kind of gave them, because the players are allowed to change, and I've talked to a couple of them about that and how they change and what they change. I think without Harrison Smith though, it's a little bit tougher to get Theo Jackson and Jay Ward to know what Josh Metellus wants to do versus when you had Harrison Smith, Cam Bynum, and Josh Metellus. So again, that's another learning, growing pain. It's going to happen. I'd say, I think I said this. I said it's going to be tough, or sorry, I said it's going to be easier up until the Bengals get here. When Joe Burrow gets here,
that's going to be a real tough one.
That's going to be the tough one, and they got to be on the same page. Hopefully Harrison Smith is back. I know he has some stuff going on, but hopefully he's back. And then hopefully Okuda's not out for a long time. Like, who knows what's going on with that. But I'd say I trust what Flores is doing. The players love it. It sounds like they're having fun doing it. I just worry sometimes, are they running themselves out of position by doing all that stuff sometimes?
Sam, I think the Vikings started, I want to say 0 of 9 on third down. Meanwhile, the Bears, I want to say, started at least 2 of 2, if not 3 of 3. Both of these teams, Ron and I always do this after every Gopher game. We look at the team stats, and the first thing we both look at, third down efficiency. Both these teams, though, ended 3 of 12 on third down. I think more of a
312. 312 is the Chicago area code. So if anybody wants to play the 3-digit lotto,
Illuminati.
312.
I was
Chicago area code. Like, hey.
I just wanted your 2 cents, Sam, on just the adjustments, if there really was a lot actually, but just the hot and cold nature, and really how much Flores turned it on, helping this defense get off the field, I guess, on third down against the Bears.
Yeah, I mean, starting with Flores' work, I felt like, even though the rushing stat, like, talk about identical stats, the rushing stats are basically identical as well for these two teams. Bears were 119, Vikings were 120. They both had 26 attempts for the same average. It felt like the Vikings stopped the run pretty effectively all game long. It was just Caleb Williams, right? Caleb Williams had the chunk runs. That's going to skew the average. In the traditional run game sense, the Vikings did a very good job defensively. They put the Bears in a lot of second and longs, a lot of third and longs. And I don't think Caleb Williams is going to carve you up in third and long more often than not. He's going to make some plays with his legs. The throw he made on 3rd and 5 on the first drive of the game was ridiculously good. And he'll do that from time to time. He made some high-level throws. He's not consistent. And in particular, he's not very consistent at the easy throws. There were a couple third downs where he had the man and missed the throw. Throws that Jared Goff was not missing last year for Detroit. So that's going to be a frustration for Ben Johnson. That's going to be an area that Caleb Williams, I think, still has to get a lot better in. He's a special athlete. I just don't know if that's a sustainable method if you can't be a little more accurate with the football. On the other side for the Vikings, I kind of just want to approach the next game with a clean slate, because this was just such a weird first half. The vibes were off. McCarthy was a little bit jittery. Guys were dropping the football. The offensive line seemed out of sync, and they had the wrong, the left tackle in there who probably won't be there too much longer because Darisaw was questionable. He was at the game. I think he's probably good to go next week. So I'm willing to give the Vikings another shot next week and see if they can build on that.
Got an injury update for you from Matthew Collar, who's at the presser with Kevin O'Connell. Kevin O'Connell says that Blake Cashman will have an MRI for his hamstring, and Okuda is being evaluated for a concussion.
Ooh,
Oh, thank
okay.
goodness.
Okay.
I
if
mean,
you
not
watch
a
the
great.
We're all pumped. Ron's pumped about that.
Oh yeah,
Concussion
it was
isn't
just
great, but at least it's not a knee or
it's
something
right,
like that.
right. It's
It
not an
started off was a
instant-
little scary.
It's not an
Apparently
instant season
he-
over. Yeah.
I think somebody said he maybe walked off the field under his own power and then was carted to the locker room or something like that. But either way,
that's maybe that's a good segue to just and we're going to preview a little bit. We'll touch on week 2 versus Michael Penix and the Falcons offense, but just the cornerbacks. How'd these cornerbacks fare? Byron Murphy, a couple big penalties, couple holding penalties, pass interference. Isaiah Rodgers, maybe an up and down night, but with no Okudah now, who was penciled in as your number 3. We saw some communication breakdowns without Harrison Smith in the back end with the safeties a little bit. Any major red flags, I guess, when you think about just what we saw unfold tonight, and now knowing you're down your likely cornerback 3 at least 1 week, I would assume, moving forward, specifically to week 2 versus Atlanta.
I thought it was very similar to last year, where the cornerbacks were kind of not really seen or heard that often, which is
I
it's
thought
a
Murphy
good sign.
had a couple of blunders, especially early.
Okudah had a really terrible rep where Olamide Zaccheaus, had the motion, and Okudah was way late.
He got caught up
identify
by the rub. You got to be able to get around
had
that.
his eyes in the wrong place, and he gave up a 3rd down conversion. But I felt like Isaiah Rodgers was solid. I don't think he was liable for a whole lot. And I thought if we're going further back, I thought Theo Jackson had a little bit up and down game, but the physicality, didn't you guys feel it really ratchet up a notch? Late third, early
that
fourth
Ivan
quarter?
Pace, I know he, double bang play and some penalties on there, but that Ivan Pace, zero blitz right in the A gap, and then the hit with DJ Moore. I think it was Jay Reed actually.
It was
Ward.
Jay Ward with a
Jay Ward.
Hit.
Yep,
perfect.
Perfect
Hit. He did
hit.
pick up that.
A la Harrison Smith.
Didn't matter because the other one,
almost.
but
Yeah,
And it
was
wasn't
beautiful.
like everybody was thinking the flag was on him.
Yeah.
When if you watch the replay, it was shoulder to the arms. His head
Shoulder
went
to the
through
wall.
his head was just in front. So he never made helmet to helmet contact. I know that's what they thought because the way Moore kind of fell, they assumed he got absolutely murdered, but it was not that. That's why Moore came back in the game too. He probably felt like I guess my acting didn't work. I'm not that hurt.
Bron, you gave a.
Have you ever done
great...
that, Ron? Did you ever?
No, I've never faked it. And we didn't get penalties back then.
Watch the film.
Like
Let's go watch the
you can
film.
get absolutely drilled in
Take it
the
away.
head, and you have to get back in the huddle. Like, so yeah, no.
Yeah, I thought Pace kind of had a low key insane game. I think a lot of the run defense stuff you were talking about, Sam. I think there's some like subtle but really good Ivan Pace plays.
And
Eric
everybody
Wilson filling in for Blake Cashman.
I was just going to say, you gave a shout out to Jalen Redmond. Let's hand out some flowers, I guess, on defense a little bit. Jalen Redmond for sure near the top of the list. Who deserves a little love and spotlight? I thought Eric Wilson coming in for Blake Cashman. What we saw last year in those 2 games Blake Cashman missed, the defensive communication more so than anything kind of fell apart. Instant worried, here we go again situation when you see Blake Cashman go to the sidelines. Eric Wilson stepping in and filling in. I thought he was tremendous out there, teaming up with Ivan Pace as well. Any more flowers we should give to the defensive side of the ball?
And let's just give an extra flower into the bouquet for Eric Wilson for the block punt.
Yes.
I mean, when it was rolling there, right? Like that was like an NBA team on a 24-0 run where you're scoring every time down, you're getting stops, you're blocking shots, and like you feel the momentum. I mean, the defense was humming, the offense was moving at a radical clip, and then you get a block punt on top of that. You got Miles Price, who's returning at 20 yards a pop. I mean, the special teams as well. Miles Price. Luke gave the call out earlier. Miles Price, like, how about the UDFA having the biggest impact of like any of the camp bodies? I don't think he was on anybody's radar going into August, and here he is. He was like an incredible presence on that team.
It was like really good punt return. Like I know he didn't break any for big giant.
Pass the eye test,
really,
right?
But like
you just know
consistently getting 10-ish yards, or even consistently getting 5 yards is so impactful. And that's what made Marcus Sherrill so good for so long. Even after he was way too old to run away from anybody, he could still like very consistently get the maximum amount available to him. Boy, that was really good.
He averaged 17 with a long of 22. So
consistent, dude.
That's absurdly good.
You know how they always say, hey, just make that first guy miss. I want to see this running back, just make that first guy. He was making the first two guys miss consistently on punt returns all night on all four of those. I'm trying to think of some other guys I'd like to give some flowers to here a little bit. Van Gink, maybe just the one flashy, splashy, sexy play, but typical Gink fashion on Brandon, that third down. Just make it a key instinctual play, batting that ball down at a key moment in the game as well. I felt like,
and like 2 plays before, I think he sniffed out an extended run play and had a big tackle that kind of started the momentum going the right way. I thought he was all over the place. Grenard was actually quieter in this game than Gink, but I thought the front seven. I think if this is a pocket quarterback, how many sacks they have tonight? 5, 6.
Oh my God! I mean, they still got some of those because he couldn't get away, but goodness gracious!
Yeah,
and if this is a pocket quarterback, they don't score that last touchdown on the read option where he keeps it and he's just gone.
Right. How about Coach's Corner, real quick before we go to segment 3? Coach's Corner, favorite or least favorite coaching decision tonight? Could be KOC, could be Flores, could be even Matt Daniels. Game management. A timeout, play call, halftime adjustment, pre-snap alignment, whatever it may be. I think for me, I got to go back to KOC right before halftime, just making sure they got those 3 points. Again, when you win by 3 here at the end, obviously that decision loomed large there. Again, would have loved to see him in hindsight. Okay, easy because they got the 3, but still would have loved them to go get another 4 or 5 yards on a quick out and step out of bounds. But nonetheless, that proved to be huge, those 3 points. Coach's Corner, either of you got a favorite or least favorite coaching decision tonight?
I'll just quick piggyback on that sequence from KOC. I thought it was, on the whole, a pretty bad sequence because even before they got the ball back, he could have preserved 30, 40 seconds if he'd used a timeout. They could have had the ball
way different.
I think he could have preserved time on the front end when the Bears had the ball, chose not to, and then should have run 1 or 2 more plays to get in better field goal range. Totally worked out. He wanted to set or tie the Soldier Field record, obviously, and clearly that was the logic there. And Will Reichert drew it in down the middle. So that was cool. That was cool. But I didn't love the clock management by KOC, and he totally redeemed himself. Braun, did you think the play calling rhythm changed considerably, or did the blocking just get better in the run game? Like what changed to get everything just looking more cohesive in the fourth?
I'm going to be really curious about this because my answer was about this to Luke's question. It was in the beginning of the game, or in the whole first half, and you kind of heard the words like overwhelmed. JJ McCarthy looks like kind of like he's drowning out there. There is so much mentally on a quarterback's plate in Kevin O'Connell's system. These play calls are 20 words long. You got a 9-word play call, and then you got a can to another 9-word play call. It is very complicated, and that's the part that McCarthy seems to have the memorization of it down fine, right? Like he's not, struggling to get the play calls done. But you got to say them really quick. You have to get that operation needs to be really, really, really fast because they were up against the play clock all the time. That little stuff mattered a lot because when the play clock is going 3, 2, 1, 0, you don't get to snap count anybody anymore, and the defense gets to tee off. Makes it a lot easier to stop the run when you know when the snap count's going to be because it's either this or it's a delay of game, so I'm going. The Packers struggled with this with Aaron Rodgers for a long time because he would spend a really long time pre-snap dialing stuff in and adjusting and all that. And sometimes you could get a sack on him just teeing off at 0 on the play clock. And whatever they did, I can't know what they did, but somehow when McCarthy started to feel a little more comfortable in the fourth quarter, maybe the play calls simplified a little bit. That would be my guess, is that they got a little shorter. You get to the line a little faster. You can still do your motion. You can still do your thing and call something of an offense, but you just kind of have to trust JJ to do stuff post-snap rather than having everything set up for him over the headset. And maybe Kevin O'Connell just started talking to him less because he has admitted that he does that. He likes to kind of be in the quarterback's ear and take up a bunch of that time. Then suddenly the snap count actually matters. The defense has to actually react to motion instead of being able to time it up and guess. Mm-hmm. And then suddenly everything starts working a little better. I think that little adjustment, whatever they did, worked really, really well.
because the operation felt agonizing at times, constantly adjusting with 3 seconds on the play clock and struggling to get the snap off. Yeah, KOC chewing up all that time with the headset. Yeah, you're right. Maybe he was a little more word efficient.
KOC, a couple comments here. KOC calling that RPO. Obviously, JJ with really the catalyst pulling that baby down and scampering. John Elway asked for that 14-yard tutty. KOC calling Chandler out of the end zone with that 2-minute warning. That was fantastic as well. Anybody think it's ironic that, outside of the secondary, I think we all agreed that one of our biggest concerns going into the season was special teams. I mean, we had debates. Is Will Riker going to be the guy? Is he okay?
Yeah.
Who's our punt guy right now?
Yeah, Ryan Wright did have a nasty shank in this one.
Yes, he did. He knew it right away, too. He looked straight to the sideline, and he just shook his head. He knew it right away. But on the whole, special teams with a great day today, for sure. Love to see that. Any final notes on the defense before we move on to segment 3 here?
Got to contain.
I thought they were great. I'm not even mad about the opening TD drive was
scripted.
Caleb.
Sure. Yep,
Caleb floating around, checking down Johnny back.
Ben Johnson had
that's really hard.
Ben Johnson had 5 months
off to the Bears
to draw those 15 plays up. Tip your hat.
Yeah.
Plenty more
I
to
thought
come.
This was a much better game from Caleb than we saw in the last couple, which you would hope for, right, in year 2. I think. Like, I get it. They kind of just resolved to let Caleb run around and, okay, he's going to get his yards and we're just going to stop everything else and hope. And yeah, they gave up 17 offensive points to the Bears. That's not a bad day, but I think they maybe underdid that a little bit. I still want you to be a little bit more disciplined and not let Caleb Williams run out and score, whole ass touchdowns on you like that. Maybe a little bit we can still work on containing and not stunting guys to the inside and stuff. I wish they'd taken that threat a little more seriously, but it's pretty hard to argue with the result.
I'm trying to think back to the last Bears matchup last year. Caleb didn't have a
whiteout
game, but he ran all over too as well, right?
Yeah, he ran. I think he got a lot of rushing yards, and it was it. But they didn't. I don't even remember the final score of that game.
30-12. That was it was kind of a laugher by the end.
Yeah.
Plenty more to come. What's this game mean for week 2 versus Michael Penix and the Falcons? Another primetime matchup, by the way. That's all coming up right after this. Quick reminder, tonight's episode also brought to us by Game Time. Vikings football is back. I couldn't be more jacked up, guys. Tailgate rivalries, the energy in the stands, there's really nothing like it, but let's be real. Actually getting tickets can feel like more of a battle than the game itself. You got the endless queues. You got the hidden fees, price jumping when you go to checkout. That's why I use Game Time, the app that gives the advantage back to the fans. By far, the easiest way to score last-minute tickets at the best prices with no surprises fees. What you see is what you pay. No joke, faster, cheaper, way less stressful than any other way I've ever bought tickets before. It's now my new go-to from here on out. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account. Use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, that's promo code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Game Time today. By the way, as always, full deep dive from this one on the Viking Squad Show with our guy, Arif Hassan. Make sure you make sure you subscribe. Keep up with all the actions. New episodes every Monday, every Thursday. Plus, you always got Ron Johnson on the Ron Johnson Show talking Vikings. That's every Tuesday. Again, subscribe. So close to 10,000 subscribers. Injury report, you touched on Cashman, touched on Okuda. Anybody else I may have missed? Ryan Kelly went out, I think, Brown, you mentioned for, a series or two while the defense was out there. Obviously he came
I don't even think he missed any time. I don't think we got any Michael Juergens. He went into the medical tent real quick, got something wrapped up, and then he had to get out of there because they had to work on Blake Cashman.
Week 1 games are typically just kind of just sometimes random, not what we expected. I remember Mike Zimmer, was it his first or second year, 2015, going into San Fran versus, I don't remember that San Fran head coach. He went one and done.
Jim Tom Sula.
Miller Lite.
Did they win again that year? I'm not sure they did.
They went
maybe not.
4
I think they went 3-13, didn't they?
Yeah.
My point at week 1, just kind of all over the map sometimes. Any interesting, anything, personnel alignments, substitutions, no snap counts yet out, obviously, but we were wondering who, no Harrison Smith. We'd see more Jay Ward, even maybe a guy like Tavier Thomas. Just sometimes week one, you get some goofy stuff you weren't expecting. Sometimes the coach comes out and pulls something out of his back pocket we haven't been expecting. Maybe he's been hiding. Anything just kind of catch you off guard a little bit outside of what we already talked about.
Of the 48 active, I feel like almost every Viking made some kind of play tonight. Like Ben Urasek was in there at tight end. They used 3 tight ends.
Huge block on the goal line in one of those.
Yeah,
like
Urasek was involved. Ty Chandler, the RB3, he got involved. Adam Thielen finally got involved. Jalen Naylor made a big catch. Tim Jones made a big tackle. He was elevated game day. You had I think Levi Drake had a splash play. Tyrion Ingram-Dawkins had a pass deflection. Those are your 5 interior guys were all pretty good. Eric Wilson, obviously, very involved. So I felt like this was kind of a group performance. Your depth showed nicely in this game, and your youth showed pretty nicely in this game. And I was also like early on, it seemed like they had Naylor in on the first play over Thielen. I think they had, Hawkinson and Oliver lining out wide instead of Thielen.
Yeah.
Maybe we overstated how much they'd rely on him early. Helps that Naylor was healthy though.
Let me ask you guys this real quick, because you brought up youth there, Sam, and it makes me think, no Harrison Smith, veteran, captain, leader. No CJ Ham on the IR, veteran, captain, leader. You traded away Harrison Phillips before the season, veteran, captain, leader. A lot of young guys out there today, a lot of first-timers, some new faces out there, Jonathan Allen, Hargraves, et cetera, Eric Wilson. Who do you think kind of stepped up in the leadership role when this team was down 17-6 going into the 4th quarter with no momentum offensively anyways yet? Because I feel like that is a game as far as locker room vibes, human element stuff goes, that's kind of tough to find on the All-22. I think can go a long way as far as this team meshing together from here on out the rest of the way.
Yeah, there's a couple of quotes as we've been recording here, or as we've been live here. Kevin O'Connell had his press conference. There's a couple of quotes that I saw that have been making me just beam about how they kind of went into halftime down 10-6. The game had been, this total dreary mess. And Kevin O'Connell looks at JJ McCarthy and says, "We're going to lean on you to win this game." And he's like, "Oh my God, the look in the eye I saw when I told him that." And then he just kind of knew that this was going to turn around and be okay. It's just, there might be something brewing here, but it's a long way to go. I know the Vikings are favored pretty heavily against the Falcons at home. I wouldn't take that to the bank at all. I think that's very much a formidable team. That's going to be a tough out on prime time again. And then the Bengals, they're tough. And then you got to go on across the pond. So it's still tough things in front of them. But yeah, that a game like this where you can take that pick 6 in the face and still say, no, it's only 17-6. We got this. Even 12 minutes left in the 4th quarter. It's only a 2-score game. We got this. And then to get a 2-score lead yourself before the game is over, that shows quite a bit of resilience. That's definitely where culture shows up.
See, 4.5 point favorites next week, it looks like.
4.5. We've handed out some flowers here, obviously.
Feels like $1 million for the Vikings.
Little love, little spotlight to a lot of guys. Anybody have a night to forget? Just kind of in general.
Justin School. Get him out of there. That was really bad. All we've seen from Justin School is him getting dusted by guys. And I know a lot of it was Jonathan Grenard in camp, but it feels like he just walked into this building, had the job, and nobody ever thought twice about it. And I don't know if he is the best tackle healthy on the roster right now.
I feel like we were cautioning this on the the squad show with the Reef. I feel like we were saying that his resume is really not that strong. It's not like he's started full time for multiple years. It's not. But I thought this is a flower. This is not a kind of a disappointment. Yep. But Donovan Jackson was good. I mean, I saw one report. Haven't verified it, but someone said 0 pressures allowed in 31 pass pro reps.
Ooh.
Pretty excellent. Had a really good block on the outside too. I have to let's verify that.
I don't know if I agree with that. Too. There were a couple where he took some L's. Maybe it's just that it doesn't end in a pressure because somebody else gives up pressure faster. And I don't know if
Justin School, when you get to play next to Justin School, that kind of worked out for him tonight.
And it's just the whole side collapses and they just credit it to somebody. Yeah. So I'm not. But I did see there was a nice screen block. I saw a really nice pull on a counter run that ended up popping off for a big one. I thought that's really nice because he had a pretty rough debut in the preseason.
Disappointments, I would say 2 Justin Jefferson drops, meaning difficult catches that Justin Jefferson should make. Had 2 of those. One going to the ground, one leaving his feet. Should have made both. And Aaron Jones in the running game, not very good. Not always his fault. But
did you have any emotional investment in that? Oh, by the way, did you hit your bet? Now that we're here, we're already here talking about Aaron Jones.
We got to talk about these.
Sam had a prop bet of Aaron Jones getting 5 or more rushing yards in every quarter, which on paper sounds like, oh, no big deal, no problem. I think you went 2 for 2, and then I kind of stopped paying attention. How'd you do on that?
No, the first quarter, he had 2 rushes that I swear to God went for 3 yards, and somehow the stat sheet said 5. Second quarter, he got 1 carry for 1 yard, and that was that.
That's too bad.
Dream ended by halftime. Adam Thielen, 3.5 receptions, had the over, and as Ron Johnson pointed out, a goose egg in that.
Hawkinson over 42.5, something like that. Not even close. 15 yards, I want to say something.
Jefferson
like that,
was the under. McCarthy was under. I mean, the only guy that hit an over on yardage, I think, was Mason. I think Mason.
Aaron Jones went over on
Aaron
yardage
Jones
as well, receiving. Yeah,
I got 44 for Aaron Jones. I don't think that was enough.
44 receiving yards?
No, 44 rushing.
He had 44 receiving yards.
Oh,
he had 25. He had 23 rushing.
Oh, okay. Well, then not even close. And then I had the Bears money line in a reverse curse. You're welcome, everybody.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
I will continue doing this. I'm taking Falcons money line. I'm telling you right now. Please let me take it.
You can. We
Don't
won't
snipe
stop
it.
you.
Don't snipe it. Let me.
Hey, no loser punishment. You're good.
No, it only works when it's you, Brian.
I'm using this for the greater good. I also want to give an update. Somebody was asking in the chat on my show. I do a bold predictions thing. If you hit a bold prediction, I'll make a charity donation on your behalf. And we did have one hit. Somebody predicted that there would be at least 4 false starts or other pre-snap procedural gaffes by the Bears, and there were 4 in the first half.
Wow. Well done. Kudos, all you Locked On Vikings listeners over there with the bold predictions. Quick break. When we come back, biggest adjustments that need to be made for week 2 versus Atlanta. That's all coming up right after this. All right, quick snapshot, week 2, short week, back under the lights, Sunday Night Football, home opener. I'm sure the bank's going to be on fire. Another, what I find kind of intriguing with this, another head-to-head battle, 2 top 10 picks from this 2024 quarterback class. You get Caleb Williams and JJ week 1. Now you get Michael Penix in JJ week 2. Penix looked decent yesterday, some good, some bad, but biggest question mark, I guess, you had entering the season, entering tonight, that you still want answered. You still need this thing answered in week 2 versus the Falcons.
A lot of open receivers. I'm still pretty worried about that secondary, especially if you're losing depth. You're losing Okudah. Are we putting Dwight McGlothern in? Are we starting to make a week 2 transaction now? Maybe that's where Stephon Gilmore joins. That would matter for cap reasons for them to wait after the first game. They did that with Dalton Risner too. That could be a thing. But I do think they need some pretty serious help on that back end still. That is not a group that I really trust. And guys were open all day long. And there's a lot of hype around like DJ Moore and Roma Dunze. That's not the best group in the league. And it's certainly not the best group you're going to face. You got Chase and Higgins coming to town. You got A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith coming to town. You've got 2 better receiver rooms, I would argue, in the division. So you got to do something about this eventually, surely, right?
I mean, you could say, as we brought up, who's not going to love watching the film tomorrow. We brought up Byron Murphy, maybe Isaiah Rodgers as well. I know I didn't hear his name called a ton, but also at the same time, I can't count 1, maybe more than 2 plays that I thought, oh, okay, that was a good play right there. I'm going to have to go back and rewatch that secondary a little bit more tomorrow morning, but yeah, I don't think either of those starting quarterbacks really had a great game. And then obviously you get to Okudah at number 3, probably not suiting up next week either.
Yeah. We had a question asking if Fabian Moreau got elevated for this game. He did not. But next week he would be your CB4 with McGlothern being 3. So a call up, a transaction, a trade, something probably would have to get done. And the Vikings had to have known this. They knew they were 1 injury away from already being in a quandary. And there were a couple of receivers running for the end zone. And if Williams delivers an accurate ball, maybe it's a different ball game. Cole Kmet gets wide open and makes a circus catch on the last Bears drive of the game that, kind of led to that late touchdown. So the secondary, probably still a question. The interior offensive line protecting, probably still a question. I think Michael Penix will provide a tougher test. He's played 4 games, started 4 games in the NFL. He's been really good, but they've lost 3 of them because their defense can't get a stop late. But the crowd, think of how quickly crowds turn on you in the NFL. Like if the Vikings just go ahead and stumble to the finish, and
we had boo birds with the Bears having a lead tonight.
And they booed him off the field at the end.
Yeah.
And if the Vikings had lost this game looking the way they did all night, and then they struggle again like next week in the first half, you probably hear that. Like honestly, that's how fickle we are. I've always said it's a 2-game league, a 2-game losing streak. The sky is falling. That could have happened. Now all the wind is in their sails, and it's going to be an awesome atmosphere. It's Sunday night. It's going to be incredible. And I think it's going to feel probably a lot more comfortable for JJ back there from the get-go. So we might see, some more stable play early on from the young QB.
Nerdy stat. What is that, Sam? 7 in a row at Soldier? 7?
It's 20, 21, 22, 23,
24.
6. 6. I got a good one from Seifert. Kevin Seifert had a tweet. 2 quarterbacks in their debut have brought a team back from double digits in the 4th quarter. Steve Young and J.J. McCarthy.
I got one from Seth Walder. Caleb Williams recorded a negative 13% completion percentage over expectation per Next Gen Stats, a virtual tie with Bryce Young for the worst CPOE game of Week 1.
I was going to say, that sounds atrocious.
Thinking the Panthers might have won the trade.
That sounds atrocious. KOC, don't quote me, I want to say was 0-4 on primetime games on the road. Luckily snaps that streak before somebody makes that some sort of narrative that gets out of hand, I suppose. Just like a la the Kirk Cousins thing. Got out of hand a little bit there towards the end. One matchup, one key to the game. I know we're going to break this whole thing down on Thursday's squad show, but that you're already thinking about. Saw a comment, if Cashman's out, our linebackers versus Bijan Robinson smells like trouble. Anything you're already thinking about? I know, Luke, you kind of touched on the corners, maybe versus guys like Drake London, Kyle Pitts, etc.
London injury to watch for, though. He has a shoulder issue, I think. So that's worth keeping an eye on. Short week. So, and you got a couple guys banged up. Might get a couple guys back. I think Bijan in the passing game, he was a problem against Tampa. He's legit. But I don't trust Atlanta's defense at all yet. They've shown me very little, especially like in the 4th quarter, late in games. So unless they've changed considerably, I still think that there's room to feast on that defense, and you're going to be in a little more controlled environment in your home building where it might be a little easier to operate. You're not scrambling with 2 seconds on the play clock that drove that I was having palpitations tonight watching it. Might be a little different next Sunday.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what to expect. I just like the Atlanta offense is a different beast than Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams, and like the interesting tug of war between what Ben Johnson likes to do and what Caleb Williams is good at, and how they were going to meld that and figure it out, is just going to come up with something totally different to prepare for. So defensively, I wouldn't be surprised to see a totally different game plan and a result that feels way different, whether that's better or worse.
It wasn't ugly. It was ugly. It wasn't pretty. But the golden child, the Minnesota Prince, J.J. McCarthy, lives up to the hype. Thor is sleeping good tonight. I know that. J.J. finds a way in the 4th quarter, 3 monster touchdowns to stun the Bears. Final score in Soldier, 27-24. Excuse me. Huge shout out to all you guys, all the everydayers out there that always make us your first listen. All you guys in the chat with us. What do we got? Almost 600 of you sickos staying up late with us. Make sure you check out Ron every Tuesday in the Ron Johnson Show. Luke Braun always crushing over on Locked On Vikings. Can't wait for his breakdown tomorrow. New episode of the Vikings Squad Party. That's every Monday, every Thursday morning. Go check out our prediction episode from this morning. See how wrong we were about J.J. McCarthy's rushing yards. I think I'm going to be pretty far off on that one already. But we're close. 10K. We're close. Like and subscribe. So close to 10,000 subscribers. We'll see you in 6 more nights. More primetime football, this time at the bank. Vikings, Falcons. Until then, again, thanks for staying up late with us. We'll see you next week.